Hello, Miss Butler's class. This is session 4, Refine Making Line Plots and Interpreting Data. This should be page 569 in your big book, lesson 27. So we're still looking at line plots, but you'll be asked several questions to maybe find the total of your line plot or to find the difference of two numbers in your line plot. And you'll work on several operations within your line plots. Some fractions you'll need to remember are 1/2, 1/4, and 1/8. 1/2 can also be written as 4/8, and 1/4 can also be written as 2/8. All right, let's go ahead and get started with our start problem. All right. So your question is, how many ounces of strawberries were picked? Notice right here, they did not write any of your fractions. So I'll go ahead and write those in for you. I count the lines to make sure I'm sure how many lines I need and what my fractions will look like. So as I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that means that 8/8 is 1 whole. So this should be 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, and so on. Once I figure that out, then I could start to figure out what my total is. And I'll have to figure out what's my total for each one, and then I'll add all of them together. So go ahead and pause the video, try that by yourself, and when you're ready to see the answer, go ahead and unpause. All right, since you went ahead and unpause, I will show you how to solve this number line problem. So we're trying to find the total amount of ounces. So that means we're going to do a lot of addings because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 line plots that we have to add all together. So to make that a little bit easier, we can look at how much each of these are worth. So I'm going to get ready to write out my fractional parts, and then I'll see how much each of these are worth. All right, so now that I wrote my fractional parts, now I'm going to check to see how much each one is worth. So my first one I'm going to look at is 1 whole. I see that 1 whole is also 8/8, so I'm just going to leave it as 8/8 for now. So that one's done. So now I'm going to move on to 7/8. And I see I had 2 of those, so I'm going to add 7/8 plus 7/8. All right, so now that I've done 7/8, I'm going to continue doing the same thing for the rest. But instead of adding 6/8 plus 6/8 plus 6/8, I'm just going to do 6/8 times 3 just to make it a little bit easier. All right, so I went ahead and wrote 2/8 off to the side at the bottom because I have just 1 2/8 right here. But the rest I went ahead and multiplied out just to make it a little bit easier so I'm not writing the same number a bunch of times. So I'm going to add all of these numbers together. But instead of adding like the 8s part, I'm just going to add that at the end because they're all 8s. So I'm going to add 14 plus 18 plus 20 plus 16 plus 9 plus 2, and I also have my 8 eighths up here. So 4 plus 8 is 12, plus 6 is 18, plus 9 would be 27, plus 2 would be 29, and plus 8 would be 36. 29 plus 8. Let me check just to be sure. No, 8 plus 9 is 7. 37. There we go. Oops. All right. And then 1 plus 1 is 2. 2 plus 2 is 4. Plus 1 is 5 plus 3 would be 87. But that's not 87 wholes. It's 87 eighths. I just left the 8 parts because they're all going to be eighths. So now I can count by eighths to see how many wholes would that be to make it a mixed number. So I'm going to count by eighths. So 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48, 56, 64, 8 times 9 is 72, and 8 times 10 is 80. So that's pretty close to 87. So that was about 10 holes that took me to make that. And if I have 10 holes that took me to make that, I'm left with 7 eighths left. So our total amount of ounces should be about 10 and 7 eighths ounces. Ms. Butler's math could totally be wrong on that. So if that's wrong, feel free to let me know. But I tried my best to add that in my head the best I could. So thank you. I know adding a lot. The biggest thing is making sure that we could do this part. If you guys get that down, that's what we need. This part, it's a little bit harder. Ms. Butler could have split it up a little bit more, but just for the sake of time, she was trying to go a little bit faster. All right. So we have this problem with Mel, and the only reason I'm showing this example is because they're going to ask you a question. Your question is going to be, what is half the size of the smallest burger? So the smallest burger is here, but I don't know what fractional part that is. So I'm going to count how many again. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So if this is 8, I'm going to write it in 8 parts again. So I'm going to write my fraction parts out. All right, now that I found my fractional parts, I can see that my smallest fraction is 1/8. But the question is that you're going to be asked on the next page is, what is half of that? So in order to find the halves, I could just really split all these lines in half and figure out how many lines I would have total to figure out what the half point of this would be. So I'm going to do that real quick. All right, now that I put my half point lines, I'm going to count all my lines now and to figure out what half of 1/8 would be. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So there's 16 lines all together. So this one right here would be 1/16. So on the next page, they're going to ask that question, and your answer should be 1/16. It says, use the line plot in the example. Mel cuts the smallest burger in half. What is the weight of the meat in each half? And each of those halves would be 1/16. All right, let's go ahead and move on. So we have question number 2. An animal doctor scale weighs animals to the nearest 1/4 of a pound. The list below shows the weight in pounds of the last 10 dogs animal doctor saw. So you're going to create a line plot. Notice it is written in fourths. That is your smallest unit. So you don't have to write this one in eighths. You can write this one in fourths. Go ahead and start with your smallest whole number. So my smallest whole number I'm seeing is 14. So you don't have to start with one whole. You'll start with 14, and you'll do 14 wholes and 14 1/4, and 14 1/2, and 14 3/4, and you'll do that, and then you'll plot the lines on the graph. All right, I'm going to give you some time to do that. Go ahead and pause your video, and when you're confident and ready to see the answer, you can go ahead and press play. So for the sake of time, Miss Butler is actually going to show you what your line plot should look like. So again, they did not write the little fractional parts in it, but this would be 1/4, and this would be 2/4 or 1/2, and this would be 3/4, and then 15 wholes, and we'll keep going. So you kind of get an idea what this will look like. So for question 3, this is what the answer would be, but I want you to still try and work it out to see why that is true, okay? And then this is the possible answer that they got. So I'm showing you the answers, but please try these by yourself first. All right. So Juan is driving a car. The racetrack varies in length. To prepare for a racing season, he records the lengths and miles of the tracks in the list below. Which line plot shows the track data correctly? So you're going to look to see where your 1/4 is. Well, I have 1/4 here. And this one has 2 1/4, but I see another 1/4 here. So that one could possibly be it. But it ends up being D. So you will look at each one. I see this one has a 3/8. That one has a 3/8. This one does not have a 3/8. These two don't, but this one does. So it could be either these two. This one has 1/2. This one has lots of 1/2, but this one's only got 2. But I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that is how you read those. And then you'll look to see which one is true or false right here. All right. And I want you to work out these problems to see if it's true. So for example, 1 1/4 is that 6 times bigger than 1/4. Is that true or false? So, all right. And we have the lawnmower one. Okay. So lawnmower one, Sarah's lawn owns hardware. She made the line plot below to compare the field tank capacity of several lawnmowers. So they already put the graph here for you. Okay. So now you have to answer the questions. What is the most common capacity of the mowers she sells? And then Mark buys the lawnmower with the smallest tank capacity. He uses 3 full tanks of the gas. So then you're going to practice multiplying. Look how they split this. So remember how I told you to put a plus sign here and then split it in half. So she does 3 times 1 and 3 times 1/2, and then you add them together. Okay? And then here's a kind of look of what the answer should be for number 7. Again, still try these problems by yourself. Okay? So Ms. Butler did not have too much time to teach it because the video could only be so long, but I hope you guys understand, and if you don't, we will review over it when I get back. All right, thank you. Bye-bye.